Hey folks, I am Beth Z. I am your nerdy best friend, and I'm here with an update on LastPass. LastPass, if you recall, is a password management tool that has been around now for 15 years, won all kinds of awards, and has always been in the top five for the longest time. And in August of this year, they had a security incident, and it's a lot more than they talked about and it's just gotten worse. So the last update before this one we had was in December. And this week all the users have gotten a notification of what they say happened. And people have been writing to me right and left about what I think about it. And I think it's horrible. I think the way they're communicating is horrible. I think what happened is horrible, and I'm breaking up. I have been considering this for a long time. I am so entrenched in LastPass. I can't even tell you. Like I said, I've had relationships with it longer than many of the relationships I've had. And I've been a defender, I've been a promoter, I've been an excited user, I've gotten everybody on it, and I'm breaking up and I'm encouraging other people to as well. Few reasons for this. Number one, it is a big security risk. And you may be asking, what exactly happened, Beth? And what is going on with them? And I wish I could tell you because not only is it a big security risk, but the way they have communicated about it and the way they have shared this with us is absolutely horrifying. I have more than 1,400. I looked today. I have more than 1,400 passwords stored and things stored in LastPass. Now, that's not surprising for me because I try out tools for a living and I'm forever registering with them. And so obviously I have a lot more than the average person, but they have put those passwords at risk. They have put my information at risk. And what is putting it over the top for me is the way they're communicating and how they're obfuscating all of the facts, how they're drowning us in jargon, how they're not communicating exactly what to do, not making things clear. That is the biggest problem I'm having. So if you're coming here for a yes or no on LastPass, it's a hard no. Y'all can turn off the video now and go find another. I'm going to do another blog post about some options and things that I'm exploring because it's going to take me a little while. But if you're coming for just the answer, LastPass, is it trustworthy? Yes or no? I'm saying no. Now I'm going to get deeper into what I know and what I don't know. And that's the comical part. It's not enough. So I know this is a little bit hard to see, and that is the point. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Here is their newest blog post, and I'm going to look at it here. It was released today is March 2nd when I'm doing this video. This was yesterday, March 1st. And this says, I want to share an important thing. The first thing I want you to do is look at the length of this thing, right? LastPass is known for being a consumer tool. It's not a nerd's nerd tool. It's not an IT department's biggest tool that they use with all kinds of security systems. I mean, it's used for that, but it's mostly you and me and my dad and my sister and all kinds of things. And I was talking to my manager today. She finally upgraded to the paid version. She had been using the free version and she put all of her family on it. And she told me today, she said, Beth, if I didn't know you if I didn't know that you're looking at the inside of things, I would just ignore all this stuff and keep going because it's so complicated. And I agree. I agree. So let me go deeper into this and what they're trying to tell you. And I have to increase the size that much because that was the size of the blog post. It is really small and it has a lot of words on it. So let me just go into this a little bit. What happens? Two incidents, right? So my problem here is that immediately they go into all kinds of jargon. The two incidents that were disclosed last year affected LastPass. Neither incident was caused by a LastPass product defect or unauthorized use or abuse. What? Tell me what is happening. Incident one summary. An engineer's corporate laptop was compromised, allowing them to get some information, right? And certain LastPass internal system secrets. No customer data or vault data was taken during that incident. So somebody broke in and got some information from LastPass. And then here's what we did. We removed the development environment and rebuilt. Look at this stuff. Why don't you say what you did? Put it through Chat GPT, for goodness sakes, and tell us what the real story is. Incident number 2 summary. The threat actor targeted a senior DevOps, I don't even know how to say that, a DevOps engineer, development operations engineer by exploiting vulnerable third-party software. What third-party software? The threat actor leveraged the vulnerability to deliver malware, bypassing existing controls. So they broke into another system and ultimately gained access to cloud backups. Okay, so cloud backups. That is backups of our vaults. And here's what we did according to that. We analyzed it and we looked at it and we did that. So, summary of data accessed. Okay, on-demand cloud-based development and source code repositories. Do y'all get that? What does that have to do with you and me? I don't know. Internal documentation. I don't know. Summary of 2 restricted secrets that were used to gain access to our cloud backup storage. That's a key. Cloud-based backup storage contained configurable data, API secrets, third-party integration secrets, customer metadata, and backups of all customer vault data. Yeah. That's our information that it gained control of. Also, all sensitive customer vault data, other than URLs and file paths to the LastPass windows or software, and the blah, 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 small print, small print, small print, were encrypted using our zero knowledge, da, da, da. As a reminder, end user master passwords are never known to LastPass. Okay, so they're saying, we didn't have your master password, so they couldn't steal your master password to get into your vault. And then they said a backup of the LastPass MFA Federation database. Fantastic. What does that mean? It contained copies of authenticator seeds, so little ways that people get in. I don't really even know. I'm a nerd. Like, none of this is really resonating with me as to what really happened. Telephone numbers using for the MFA backup. That means when you are texted the little code, they got some of those phone numbers, right? For multi-factor authentication, as well as a split knowledge component, the K2 key used for LastPass Federation if enabled. What? What? Now, here's the first link. So what's the size of these things? So detailed information about the specific customer data impacted by these can be found here. I think this is actual size. Let's see. Yep, that's 100%. This is actual size and it's like a light gray. I don't get it. Now, customer account secrets API. This is the stuff that was stolen. Consumers and business consumers, non-federated. Am I federated? I don't really even know. I got these things, got those things. Look at all the stuff the business customers got. It's got Splunk security information. I don't think I've ever had a Splunk security information. I don't know. But that's for business customers. I was not a business. I was on the family plan. Business and team. This is all kinds of information with the LastPass customer database. Free premium and families users. This is us. Billing addresses, email addresses, username, IP addresses, telephone numbers. So a lot of the things that get stolen in a breach, right? Mobile device, unique identifier, telephone number, and then PB, KBF2, SHA 256 iterations. What? Then it got the vault data, right? They got the data that is shared where all of our LastPass words and usernames are shared. They said that they are encrypted, and the only way that they can get into them is through your master password. Now, I'm interpreting this from what they say, but it took me a long time to even get that. Encrypted fields. It got these fields, site name. These are things that it got. Secure notes. It got some information. Some of it's encrypted. I don't even know. I don't know how it was encrypted. It's beyond me how they expect my dad, my manager, my husband to read closely on this, my sister, when it's written in a different language for most of us. A rule, RURL, a duplicate of the URL field. Again, deprecated, may exist for old users. I don't know. Am I an old user? Yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's offensive. I can't really get it. So it says all this information was taken in different ways. So going back to the original post. So what should you do? Now, it says do these security bulletins. And every time I open up LastPass, it gives me this note about going to this security bulletin. Now, here's how I would expect this to work. When you open up a new tool, right, and it gives you a tour of what's going on, it'll give you a wizard. It'll say, click here, and then click down there to personalize, and then click here. That's what my dad would need to do. That's what my sister would need to do. She's a teacher. She's busy. She doesn't have time to do what they're recommending that they do. Instead of doing something clear like that to give all of us instructions, watch what happens. So it says recommended actions for LastPass free, premium, and families. That's us. And it's a bulletin. So I click on the security bulletin. Wow. Here we have a whole bunch of words again with all kinds of instructions. Does this look clear? Does this look like a wizard? No. It looks very confusing. And again, I was talking to Haley this morning and she said, I would not do all that. I saw it. I would not do all that unless I, because I would just skip over it. But because we're on this team and I know about security now with you, I'm going to give it a try, but I would have just ignored this. So here's what they say here. And I'm going to go up a little bit. Again, if you're, I'm going into the details because I want you to know how upset this should make you and how confusing this is and how wrong they are for what they did. But if you're looking again for LastPass, yes or no, I'm changing. I say no. So here are the recommendations, right? Overview. It asks you to take this test, right? Do you need to act? Ask yourself these questions. Is your master password strong and unique? Yes, no, unsure. Look at that. They could have given us another wizard, right, to bring us through. Instead, they do this. It's not clickable. It's just yes, no, or unsure. It's not very user friendly. It's in small gray print, right? It's not even very clear, like to read on the page. Is your master password hash iteration value set to at least 600,000? I'm sorry. Have you offhand, would you know if your master password hash iteration value is set to at least 600,000? I didn't know. So are your passwords all strong and unique? Most of us, the answer is no. Are you using multi-factor authentication on LastPass and other important accounts? Remember though, they stole some of the multi-factoring stuff. So I don't know why they would choose this as a question, but did you answer no or unsure to any of these questions? I know everyone probably answered no or unsure to any of those questions, especially the hash iteration thing. So, says first and foremost, create a long password. A little late for that, right? It's asking you to create a long password, but your vault is already out there. Now, if you create a long password, it's going to protect what's in there right now, but they may be able to get into your old password. And if it's not that good. And so he's like, oh, you should be doing this. Well, why didn't you have us do that? Why weren't these the specifications to have it done in the first place? I don't know. I love this. Notice the LastPass families. Make sure all members of your family's account follow. There are some typos in here, by the way. Families, apostrophe, account, follow these best practices. The safety of your shared items is determined by the person with the weakest master password. That means your grandpa, your kids, right? You've got to be responsible for making sure all of those people. Depending on the length and complexity of your master password and iteration count setting, topic 2 below, you may want to reset your master password and follow those instructions. All right, it asks you to click out of here again and Change your master password. Ta-da! A long instruction for changing your master password. Then it says, ensure your master password isn't reused. Okay? If you detect following these instructions. Yeah, crazy. Here's that iteration, hash iteration thing. LastPass makes use of the password-based key derivation function PBKDF2. Have you ever heard of that? I didn't before all this stuff happened, which makes it harder for someone to guess. Each round of PDDDD it converts your original input into unique encryption keys. Mhm. You could have done that a little bit more clearly. Again, ChatGPT, the AI writing tool, you throw it in there and say, explain it to a 5-year-old or a grandpa and get better things. Maybe I'll do that and put it on the site. In January 2023, OWASP. What? What is that? I don't see OWASP on here. Updated their recommended number of PBKDF2 iterations to 600,000. So we're gonna put it up to 600,000. But now it says go to this article and up your iterations. Oh, wow. Again, lots of words. Now, I did this and it wasn't intuitive. Not only that, but every time I clicked on the LastPass $AC=1, it asked me to log in again. So I had to log in multiple times and it got really confusing. I got confused about where to find this. It's under advanced in the settings. Numbers only. Do not enter a comma, space, or other punctuation. Right. So when you do that and you confirm, and then it has to be re-encrypted. What does that mean? You're automatically logged out because lately I've had to log in 75,000 times and now it's more stuff. Could they have? I'm just thinking outside the box here. Could they have pointed to that when I log into my LastPass vault, pointed to it, put it out front and say, let's change your iterations because they're 100,000. Mine were 100,000 versus 600,000. Could they have given us a better place to find that? Probably. You know what? I went into there today and they've got this tour for families. Like, hey, look what you can do with families. Look what else you can do with families. Look how you can spend extra money to get your security monitored and your dark web monitored. Look at all these things. And it pointed it out. This they put in small gray type. All right, going back to the security bulletin. We're only on 2.1, password hygiene. Now, here's an interesting thing. A couple of times it says most of these features are not available to free, but we're going to do it in during the upcoming weeks. We will make this available to free users. Thank you very much. So this has been happening and the problem's been there since the fall. You have not taken real actions. You've not helped us change things really. And you're not giving your free users the tools and you're making it hard for your paid users to find it, right? So the security dashboards does your security score and it'll go through all of them and say, hey, this one's weak, this one's reused, and ask you to change them and review your security score and things like that. And oh, let's go to another helpful piece on the security dashboard. Here we go down. Turn on dark web monitoring. As of publication, dark web monitoring is only available to premium and family subscribers. During the upcoming weeks, we'll make it for free. Perfect. Upcoming weeks, people might be more secure, but they will look at and check and see if your emails are out there. And, you can do this in a number of sites, but this one, keep an eye on it for you. I have it through haveibeenpwned.com. That's where I look all the time. And then I have it on here as well. And I'm signed up so that every time one of my email addresses shows up in a database of breach stuff, they send me a notification. Enable multi-factor authentication. Oh, that's good. Except you have told me that the phone numbers have been taken. So what, what how does that help? I don't really know. Now, I didn't read the fine print and I don't know if The phone numbers were stolen in a hashed version so that it was hard for them to see and unencrypt. I didn't read all of the fine print there. So maybe my phone number isn't just out there. Maybe it's a little bit hidden. But y'all don't have a good track record at this point, and I don't trust anything. So if you enabled it, regenerate your shared secrets, and then use an authenticator, that kind of thing. The multi-factor authentication, they're recommending that you use an authenticator, which is another tool. They've got one, Google has one, Microsoft has one. Oh, get this. If you are using LastPass Authenticator to store TOTP codes for applications other than your LastPass, and you have save accounts to the cloud, the TOTP codes used to generate are backed up to your last vault using zero knowledge. What? I have not hung out with TOTP codes, and I guarantee my sister hasn't, and I guarantee my husband hasn't, and maybe you have. It's fantastic. But these aren't things that I understand. And I'm going to put, was this helpful? No. How can we make it better? Clear instructions. As you can see, I'm not happy. As you can see, I think they've let us down. My biggest problem, frankly, if this had happened, I mean, it happens, and it's going to happen to every password manager, probably. If this happens, I'm so sorry. This sucks. It could happen. They didn't break their software, according to LastPass. They accessed through different people's computers the internal stuff to make their lives miserable, right? So LastPass's software held up. It was just the encryption, the things they had on other people's computers that were accessed that broke down the system. Fine. It's going to happen to, I mean, LastPass is a very valuable, getting those databases is a very valuable tool and highly desirable for any bad guy, right? Having access to all of the bank information and that kind of thing. Fantastic. Good to know. It could have happened to Dashlane. It could have happened to 1Password. It could have happened to anybody. But they didn't come forward and make it clear. They're not making it easy to figure out what happened. They're not making it possible, really, to figure out what happened. I read this multiple times, and if I sat down and drew little pictures and analyzed it, I probably could figure out exactly what happened because that's kind of my job. I'm not really an IT person per se, and I'm not a cybersecurity person per se, but I can really look things up, kind of absorb it. But we don't have time for this. You don't have time for this. And to make this as confusing and unclear as they have is unacceptable. Own up to your problem. Give us clear information about what was stolen and give us clear and easy to follow instructions on how to fix it. That's not too much to ask for a multi-billion-dollar company. I don't know how much they're worth. A lot of money that we pay for, most of us, some of us. A lot of people dropped it when their free version became became less feature filled, right? And they went to a company called Bitwarden that has a nice free version. A lot of people dropped it. And so they probably don't have as many free users as they used to. So a lot of us are paying for it. It was only like $48 a year. I think I paid 50 some odd dollars a year for the family one. But why? Why are you doing this? Why? Why can't you be honest and straightforward and helpful instead of hiding behind legalese, technical jargon, confusing instructions, and a very slow timeline for getting this information out? So here's where I am. We're going to switch. I have 1,437 entries in LastPass that I'm going to have to download, then upload again, then verify. I'm going to have to reshare with people. I'm going to have to figure out something that works for my team. right now it's wonderful. LastPass was wonderful that you could share individual passwords with people and third-party vendors, which I had to do all the time, to let them get into your system to use the resources they need to do something. Like we have some stock assets, and sometimes they need access to that. We have my blog, and sometimes they need access to that under my name. Whatever. Mailchimp, whatever other ways that I can give this information to other people, I have to find that. And I have to find something that's easy to use that doesn't require people to have a paid version of the tool. Like one password, it doesn't have a free version. So I'm going to have to weigh that. There are some that let you share things for like 30 minutes or whatever for one time access, but it shows the password. And there are all kinds of things I loved about LastPass, and I did love LastPass. I used it, and it was so easy, and it was so seamless, and it's so wonderful, but I can't excuse this. I can't say, "I'm gonna keep using you," because I don't think they're treating us the right way, and I don't think they're being smart with us and fair with us and telling us the truth in ways we can understand. So, that's where I am with LastPass. Thank you for listening. I am going to spend some time in the next couple of weeks figuring out which one we're going to move on. And in the meantime, I'll probably write a summary of several of the other options if you are switching. It's a good time for passwords. It's the beginning of a good time because we are switching away from passwords and going to pass keys. That is biometrically verified information with tokens rather than passwords. And it's on your face and it's on your fingers. And we're getting away from having 1,400 individual passwords that you might need to keep track of. By the way, I think most people have about 90 to 160, not 1,400. But still, that's a lot. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. I'm going to write my own recommendations for LastPass for what you should do if you have LastPass now. And I'll just summarize those in a nutshell. If you're staying with LastPass, change your master password, change your passwords for all your sites. All of them. And just make sure you keep up with the latest versions of everything because they are upping their security. Doesn't matter to me anymore. You lost me. But they are upping their security and making changes there. So those are my recommendations. I'm going to summarize those so you don't have to have them here. And I'm going to go shopping for a new one. Until next time, this is your nerdy best friend saying, nerd on and stay safe.